Hello. So I thought I would show you the settings I have for streaming to Twitch and also streaming to YouTube and also recording desktop like this because I have different settings for this and I usually split them up in different profiles here. You can see I have recording, stream Twitch and stream YouTube. Same thing with the scene selections. You might think that I want to have same scenes for both. Well, yes, I do, but the browser source, the links to the browser source are different depending if I'm streaming to Twitch or YouTube. So therefore, I have different profiles for each. Right now, as you can see, I'm on the Twitch profile, both. So I'm just going from here. So I don't have to switch profiles and stuff. But yeah, I'm not going into detail about setting up, the different scenes and stuff. I'm just showing you the settings window here. And the first general page here or tab, I don't change anything. I just use the default. Previously, I just changed the theme to the regular dark, but I'm starting to like the new Yami theme because it have a little bit more space between the text. But the general, I don't change anything. Then the stream. As I said, this is the Twitch profile. You have YouTube, will be YouTube RT And here's another thing. The server. I'm in Sweden as well. And here in Sweden, in Stockholm, we have two different, what do you call it, ingest servers. The 4 is recommended for me. Then you have a button for the first time when you start OBS, you get a button here saying connect account. So you connect your Twitch account and you can do the same thing with YouTube. And for Twitch, I'm also using an extension called Better Twitch TV and Franker Face Z stuff. And if you want to be able to change the settings in the stream chat for the Better Twitch TV stuff, I suggest you, or you kind of have to connect your account instead of using the stream key. You have to connect the account to be able to change this. I think it's set to none by default. Then I ignore the stream service settings recommendations because I want OBS to be able to not warn me and stuff like that. And when you connect your account, you also get information about maximum video bitrate and audio bitrate. The maximum to Twitch is 6000 kilobits, which is 6 megabits. And on YouTube, it's 51,000 kilobits or 51 megabits. So it's quite a difference. It's like 8 times higher to YouTube. So yeah. So I'm going to show you also in the output settings. When I stream to Twitch, I use 6,000, the maximum, and if to YouTube, I use 24,000 because I actually stream 1440p to YouTube. And you can do that to Twitch as well, but with 6,000 bitrate, it's going to look kind of bad when you move around. So yeah, Twitch 1080p 6000, and YouTube like 1440p 24,000. Why 24? Well, 24 is 4 times more than 6,000, so 6 times 4 is 24. And why 4? Well, yeah, that has to do with the 4K. With 4K, it's like 2160p, so it's 4 times higher resolution, or 4 times more pixels at least. So I thought, well, 4 times more bitrate. Okay, so output. By default, it's set to simple, but you have to change it to advanced. And yeah, over here you have, when you set it to advanced, you get a couple of tabs. You have the streaming tabs, or streaming tab. All your tracks, when you actually log into Twitch, you get an extra option here called Twitch VOD track. And I suggest you actually use this or check it, because otherwise, if you actually play music on the live stream, if you check this, the music won't be in your VOD. That's kind of nice, because if you have this unchecked, the music will be in your VOD and you might get banned for using, copyright music. And this only shows up if you use Twitch. It doesn't show up on YouTube. So if you check this, it will say select channel number 2. And there's another settings for this I'm going to show you later. How to actually disable the music on the VODs. And of course the encoder, you can choose X264, but that's CPU based. So if you have a beefy CPU, sure, use this. I suggest you use the NVENC if you have an NVIDIA card. I don't know if you have an AMD card, what you should use, but yeah, whatever. Yeah, streaming, and then we have the encoder settings for streaming. And most streaming services want you to use CBR, which means constant bitrate. And since I am on the Twitch streaming here, you remember it said maximum 6,000. And that's for basically everyone. I think Twitch partners can use 8,000 or 8 megabits. But for just regular users, maximum 6,000. I tried to use like 8,000 and even 7,000, but then the OBS started to complain that the connection were unstable and stuff like that. So yeah, don't use more than 6,000 if you are a regular streamer. I don't know about affiliates, but yeah, just use 6,000. Keyframes, I think it's set to 0 by default. Change it to 2. And then I basically just use the default settings. You can set up to P7, but a lot of people saying that they can't see any difference between P6 and P7. The only difference, or quality difference at least, the only difference is that P7, it will hit your computer, the performance. So yeah, just use P6. Tuning high quality, everything is set to by default, profile high. I don't use look ahead. I think I tried it once and then it actually looked worse. more blurry or whatever. So I just have the Psycho visual tuning keyframes 2. So on this thing, yeah, so this is the Twitch settings. Set it to 6000. If I stream to YouTube, I set this to 24,000. That's 24 megabits. The rest is the same. It's just the bitrate that is different. Yeah, and the resolution, of course, but you don't change the resolution here. I'll show you that later. So yeah, but for Twitch, this is 6000. And of course, the VOD track. Then we have the recording tab. Normally, I have a different profile for recordings, but I have the same settings here. And of course, type standard. And of course, you need to select where the files should be saved. You click browse and then surf around. Then recording format, I use MKV. You can select MP4 here if you want to, but you'll also get a warning here. It's basically saying that if OBS decides to freeze or just close or whatever, the video file will be corrupt and you can't really use it. So what you do instead here is to use MKV. And if you use MKV, you can also go to advanced. And down here, you select under recording, automatically remux to MP4. So when you click stop recording, it will automatically turn that MKV file to an MP4 file. That's kind of nice. Otherwise, MKV, audio track just one. You don't need the VOD track because you're just doing recording. Same thing here, encoder, NVEnc. And I have nothing else enabled here, just leave it alone. And here's the difference between recording and streaming. Instead of having CBR, I'm actually using a thing called CQP. And it doesn't use bitrate settings, it uses CQ levels instead. And by default, it's set to 20. And I set it to 13. I set it to 13. Other people use 14. Doesn't really matter. 13 and 14 is kind of the sweet spot when it comes to quality and the video file size. If you go further down, like 5, you don't really notice that much quality difference, but the file size will be a lot bigger. So around 13, 14 is kind of the sweet spot. Otherwise, the rest is the same as streaming. And audio tab is set to 160 by default. I set it to max to 320. Replay buffer, I don't enable that buffer. It might be good for streaming or whatever. I don't know. Audio section. General sample rate 48 kilohertz. I think this is the default. You can change this to 44.1 if you want to, but same thing, channels. For the most part, most streaming services want to, regular stereo. But you can set surround sound if you want to as well. You want to record that. In the global audio devices, I disable everything because I actually add them manually. That's that. Video. So my base canvas resolution is always set to 2560 by 1440. because that's the native resolution on my monitor, because I got a 27-inch 1440p monitor. So that's the canvas size. And output scale, and this, I set it now to the same, the 1440, because I'm actually recording. And this is one of the reasons I have different profiles, because when I stream to Twitch, I set this to 1080. And here you can see a difference. If I set it both to the same resolution, the downscale filter is not required. But if I set it to 1080, you can sort of change that. I set it to Lanczos 36 samples. So this is for Twitch. And then 60 FPS. Right now I have it set it to 1440 because I'm actually just recording for YouTube. But for streaming, at least you can set both of these to 1080. If you have like a 1080p monitor, don't need scaling, 60 FPS. And hotkeys I will do later. Advanced, I've been here before, you know, the automatic remux. But there's nothing much I change here. Some people actually change the process priority to above normal. I set it to normal. And the only thing I think I changed here is the SDR white level, the 400 nits. Also automatically remux to MP4. And down here, down here in the network, it says to default, by default. But I'm actually binding it. You see I got two Ethernet. One of them have a IP version 6 address. And the IP4 address. I use the regular IP version 4. So that's that. Hotkeys. I normally use a software called Touch Portal to control OBS. And it's two parts of it. One is the software on your PC. And you set it up, buttons and all of that. And then you have an app on your tablet or your phone. And you use the app on the tablet to control, sort of pressing the buttons. So instead of having Stream Deck, the Elgato Stream Deck, you can have this Touch Portal. It's a free version of this software, and there's a paid version. The paid, I think it costs like $13 or whatever, and you get a lot more functionality with it. But you can also set up hotkeys in OBS. So for example, start streaming, I can just press Ctrl Alt and the minus sign on my numeric pad. This is when, you know, the numeric pad comes in handy. Most people don't want the numeric pad because the keyboard gets so big, but I like it. And then I have different scenes, as you can see on the left. And I can switch scenes with the just holding down Control and the numeric pad, you know, the numbers. So yeah, go to the desktop scene, I just hold down Control and press number 1. And yeah, I know there's a warning sign here, and I'm going to show you why later. So this is the scenes, that 4. And then we have, for example, I have the audio sections. I have them set up to different, added them manually. And so the Blue Yeti, the microphone, num sub, the numeric minus. So if I want to mute that, just control that. And Unmute is the same key combination. Also mute if I want to go to be right back scene. I also want to automatically mute the microphone when I go to that scene. So that's what you do here, and that's why you get this kind of warning sign saying this key is already used. But yeah, that's what I want. You want to use the same key for both switching the scene and muting the microphone, so it works. I don't think I'll have much. Yeah, the browser source. Same kind of idea. It will be muted when I go to BRB scene. Then I don't really have much over here. Yeah, the my phone. I have another software called Droid Cam. Or Droid Cam. Yeah. And it's basically a plugin for OBS. And it's also an app on the phone. So I can actually capture the cameras on the phone in OBS Studio. And you do that over Wi-Fi. So you don't need any cables or anything. You just do over Wi-Fi. So you can sort of walk around in your apartment using Wi-Fi. And you can sort of do a live stream from your phone through OBS. So it's kind of nice. And this is just for muting and unmuting the audio for the phone. But otherwise, yeah, the advanced, I already done that. And here's the thing with the VOD track. You know, remember I went to audio or the output, setting this to VOD track. And you see regular streams or the audio goes to 1, and then you have the audio track or the VOD track to track number 2. So the live stream will go to number 1, and then the VOD track or the VOD stream will go to number 2. So how do you actually set that up? Well, if you go in the audio, in the audio section here, if you right click in that area, you have these advanced audio properties at the bottom. And let's maximize this a little bit. And here you can see all the audio sort of sources. And here to the right, you have the tracks. They are all filled in by default. I just deselect everything except for channel 1 and 2. Because remember, the VOD track is on the number 2. So I want my microphone to be on the regular live stream, number 1. And the VOD track, number 2. So the only thing I don't want on track number 2 is the music. You see number 5, music. I don't want it to be sent to track number 2 because that's a VOD track. I don't want the music to be on the VOD. I just want the music to be on my live stream, which is number 1. But everything else, I want the microphone, the Discord, and my desktop, the game audio, everything like that, I want to be on the VOD, but not the music. So you have to uncheck the music on track number 2. That's now you can have like music on your live stream, but not on your VOD track. That's kind of nice. I'm not going through all of this stuff. It's too much information. That's a separate video because this video is like 24 minutes long already. So yeah, that's the settings at least I have for it. Might do a different setup video for all of these tracks and stuff because I'm actually using filters and stuff for everything, and also the volume levels. Yeah, set it back. Let's see. Like that. Yeah, that's my settings for streaming and recording. Catch you later.